All right, I welcome you all, my great viewers and subscribers from far and near. This is another interesting episode of The Truth with Ben Jokes, your number one political talk show. We are in the second week of February 2025. Remember that at the beginning of this year, Tinubu and his team promised to reduce the rate of inflation from 34% to 15%. And I told you that that was just a joke. They put that projection in the 2025 budget, and as soon as I saw it in that budget, I concluded that the budget was just a comical write-up before I began to see other things that showed clearly that it was just for comic relief. But some Nigerians began to reason with them that there was a possibility of them reducing the rate of inflation from 34% to 15%. I will be showing you now how the rate of inflation is set to skyrocket as opposed to reducing. Tinubu began this year by increasing telecommunications tariffs, and only 3 days ago, they told Nigerians to warm up for another increase in the cost of power. That is, increase in electricity tariffs. And let us not forget that these increases are massive increases, not just like 5 to 8% increases. The telecoms tariff increase was 50% increase. I believe the electricity tariff will be around 25 to 30% increase. And few hours ago, Nigerians began to weep when another tariff increase was announced. This one is very brutal because it will raise the price of every single commodity in this country. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that, American President Donald Trump hit Tinubu another very massive blow. Aso Rock has been thrown into darkness after this direct attack on the Tinubu government by Donald Trump. This is the biggest and the most direct blow on Tinubu so far by any foreign government since he got into Aso Rock. And only time will tell what Trump actually wants to do to bat. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you these updates. The first one here is a video by PDP chieftain Bode George. Bode George is trying to prove here that the PDP is still very, very redeemable amidst the crisis rocking the party. See the video.
George, it's as if the same Malay that is troubling your party, a similar thing is also troubling the Labour Party. The NNPP, as reported in our roundup, but you feel that your party is even doing better than the APC in terms of internal coordination. As disorganized as your party is on the surface and what we can see, but it does look like you have a feeling that your party is even better than the APC. Is that what you think?
You can bet that. Who after Ganduji, who is the national secretary of the APC? Who is the national organizing secretary of the APC? Where are the other members of the National Working Committee, members of the APC? Where have you had any meeting? Let me tell you something. You see, the beauty of this is that the taproot, the grassroots of the PDP is still completely intact. Otherwise, I would have been so afraid that we are going to completely collapse. If the taproot of the Iroko tree is still deep-rooted, only the wind that is blowing the trees at the top, and we are going to resolve it. We will. I believe in the resolution. You meet A, you meet B. Don't discard A, don't discard B. Listen to both sides. And that is what we did. Let me just take a decision and came to a conclusion. No.
You heard that, Chief Bode George there, telling us that there is also very strong crisis within the APC, and I can confirm that the northern and southern factions of that party are in deep disagreement. And Bode George was trying to prove that the PDP still has what it takes to resolve their internal crisis and stand strong as an opposition. As much as I do not believe his words, I hope they get it right. I have no doubt that Tinubu is the one working with Wike to destabilize that party. It is the same thing he is doing in the Labour Party. But I hope the stakeholders within these opposition parties would, for the sake of the suffering and dying Nigerians, resolve these lingering crises and form an alliance that would kick the APC out of power. Because aside looting the nation's resources, the APC has other sinister plans for this country. For instance, they want to turn this country into a refugee camp, and that can be achieved with the incessant attacks of Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, Lakurawa, and all the gunmen. Send people into IDP camps all across Nigeria, then chase farmers from their farms and get us to depend on GMO foods from foreign countries. Now, wouldn't we have become refugees if these plans succeed? If we have to live in IDP camps and depend on GMO foods from foreign countries in our own fatherland? That is why we must all keep our sentiments aside and rise to reject the APC. Point blank, period. The next video here is a very, very disgraceful one. A country as blessed as Nigeria having to depend on the World Bank to feed her citizens. See the video.
A staggering 3.7 million children in northeastern Nigeria are struggling with stunted growth, wasting, or anemia. This is according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Fueling the alarming food security crisis for the country is a toxic mix of conflict, soaring inflation, and the fallout of climate change. To address this problem, the World Food Programme, WFP, earmarked $2.5 billion in the 2023 to 2027 Nigeria Country Strategic Plan, CSP, says it's working strategically to ensure a world without hunger in line with the Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2 on poverty and zero hunger.
We have some interventions that are focused on emergency response, making sure that people will not go to bed hungry. Those are life-saving activities that aims to provide immediate food assistance.
We have reached millions of Nigerians, providing them with opportunities for economic empowerment, education, and improved well-being. The World Food Programme's expertise in food security, nutrition, and emergency response will be invaluable in enhancing our programs and achieving greater impact.
The WFP Nigeria CSP 2023 to 2027, a 5-year project, has a dedicated activity for strengthening institutional capacities and enhance enabling environment in line with the national target to achieve zero hunger Nigeria by 2030.
What a shame. This is a country with perhaps the most agriculture-friendly weather and climate on the planet. Our soils, loamy and humus soils, are as crop production friendly as can be. We have a youth population that is able and ready to work, but our government has failed us woefully to the point that we have to beg for food. It was Ukraine, a country at war, that gave us tons of grains last year. Now the World Food Programme is putting aside $2.5 billion to feed millions of Nigerians. And the worst thing is, if that money is not properly monitored, if they release that money anyhow to the Nigerian government, they will embezzle the money. They will still loot the money. You can't feed your citizens. Someone else wants to feed them for you. You still loot the money. What kind of problem is this? Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that terrible update. Tinubu is set to tremendously raise the rate of inflation in Nigeria with another increase of tariffs. This time around, it is the first increase in 32 years at the Nigerian Ports Authority. And next is that update all the way from United States of America. Donald Trump blocks the discovery and sending of ABACHA loot to Tinubu regime. And then he added that he would focus on dismantling narcotics and drug networks instead. Remember that Tinubu forfeited $460,000 of narcotics/drug money to a Chicago court years ago. What really is Donald Trump planning for Tinubu? Let's start by taking that update from the Ports Authority. Look at how the papers reported it. Nigerian Ports Authority increases port charges by 15%. First hike in 32 years, Sahara reporters. The Nigerian Ports Authority has announced plans to increase its charges by 15%, marking the first tariff adjustment in over 3 decades. Dr. Abubakar Dantosho, the managing director of NPA, disclosed this development during a maritime stakeholders meeting in Lagos on Thursday. He stated that the rate review was necessary to enhance competitiveness and fund infrastructural upgrades at the nation's ports. News Agency of Nigeria reports this is the first time since 1993 that we are adjusting our tariffs. The review is aimed at improving service delivery and maintaining global standards in port operation, Dan Soho said. Speaking at stakeholders meeting, NPA's Executive Director of Marine and Operations, Mr. Olalekan Badmus, who represented Managing Director Mohammed Bello Koko, explained that the adjustment was necessary to bring Nigerian ports up to international standards. Although the federal government has already approved the rate review, the NPA management felt it was important to engage stakeholders before implementation, Badmus said. He noted that the increase, which applies across all NPA charges, was driven by the deterioration condition of port infrastructure and outdated equipment that have hampered efficiency and competitiveness. NPA relies on revenue from port operation to fulfill its responsibilities, including infrastructure maintenance, dredging of channels, provision of navigation aids, acquisition of modern marine equipment, digitization of port processes, and ensuring security, he added. Maritime expert Mr. Joshua Asanga acknowledged the concerns surrounding the rate hike, but pointed out that inflation, currently around 35%, has eroded the real value of NPA's tariffs. Now, 30 years, the first time you are increasing tariffs in over 30 years. And this is the period that you are doing it. The period that Nigerians are at their worst economically. And when you increase tariffs at the ports, this is the channel through which goods enter the country, and you are increasing tariffs. That tells you that every single commodity that passes through that port into the country is going to increase tremendously in price. And the increase is not just 5% or 6%, 15% increase. And these are some of the issues that the putative savings from subsidy removal should be able to address, because they said there is deterioration at the ports, they need to upgrade. Then give them money from the subsidy money you claim to have saved. But no, the monies have been embezzled. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. Blessed here says, what APC clueless government doesn't know is that the more they tax goods and services, the more the inflation. A container that was previously cleared with 5 million naira is now cleared with 50 million naira. And you are wondering why inflation is over the roof and why purchasing power has drastically dropped. Of course they know. It's intentional. You think they don't know? And Ms. Darasimi here says, what has Nigerians benefited from this lackluster government? Of what use are they to the common man? They just want to be collecting from the citizens. No area is spared. That is it. And that is why the citizens must rise to kick them out of power. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to this, that update all the way from the United States began making the rounds. Now, endeavor to follow the updates till the last paragraph to get the full gist. Look at how the papers reported it. Just in, Trump disbands elite DOJ team, tracing multi-billion-dollar Sani Abacha loot for Nigeria. U.S. President Donald Trump has disbanded the Kleptocracy Asset Recovery Initiative, an elite Department of Justice team tasked with tracing the billions of dollars assets looted by Nigeria's late military head of state, Sani Abacha, and other international corruption, People's Gazette reports. A source close to the unit confirmed to the Gazette on Saturday that newly appointed United States Attorney General Pam Bondi quietly dismantled the team earlier this week, following authorization by Mr. Trump as his administration continues to wind down several government programs. This decision to disband the team came as a surprise to many, as the team was responsible for recoveries and prosecutions linked to billions of dollars in stolen assets, including the ongoing litigation involving some of Abacha's loot traced to Atiku Bagudu, Bola Tinubu's budget minister. This development could potentially make it difficult to find previously undiscovered Abacha cash stockpiles, which investigators still believe are out there. The Kleptocracy Initiative was specifically launched in 2010 to track down assets linked to international corruption. The Gazette had yet to get a response after reaching out to the Economic and Financial Crime Commission spokesperson Dele Oyewale for comment. Also, Tinubu spokesperson Bayo Onanuga didn't respond to a request for comment. It was unclear how the DOG would proceed with the case already in U.S. courts, or whether it would continue to cooperate with the parallel proceedings to trace and return Abacha loot in the United Kingdom and other jurisdictions. Mr. Trump's administration said it would focus instead on dismantling narcotics and human trafficking networks. Let's take that again. Mr. Trump's administration said it would focus instead on dismantling narcotics and human trafficking networks. That means it will focus on dismantling drug networks. And we remember the man who forfeited over $400,000 of narcotics proceeds, of drug proceeds in Chicago. Now, I don't want to begin to preempt Trump, but it will be very interesting to see how events unfold in the coming months. All those who are in Nigerian government and are still in drug business should be prepared. By the grace of God, they will be exposed in a manner that the judiciary, the Nigerian judiciary, no matter how corrupt, will not be able to save them from the ICC. But before then, let's talk about the other part of this update. Abacha loot will no longer be coming to Nigeria. That is the part that most people are excited about. Imagine being happy that the government of your country is going to be denied billions of dollars. That is because all the ones they've been collecting, we know they see them. Under Buhari regime, they were collecting Abacha loot, collecting and collecting. The people did not feel a single impact. And I think Tinubu has also collected once. The poverty keeps rising. So the people are saying, since they are collecting this money and sharing it amongst themselves, it is better you don't give it to them. So they are happy that the American government under the Trump administration has dismantled the team that goes after Abacha loot and repatriates to Nigeria. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. Precious here says, that is good news. Trump truly understands the act of relooting. Yes, because when the money comes here, they reloot it. And Harry here says, can they account for all that they have recovered? Nigeria government is only relooting the Abacha loot. That is it. This tweet here says, no more free money for BAT. Yes, so Abacha loot recovery is a trace and reloot crime cartel between Nigerian government and corrupt US officials. They trace and facilitate recovery of Abacha loot, then share the loot among themselves as kickbacks, consultancy fees, and bribes. Where are the previously relooted funds? Of course, they can't account for the ones that were returned. What a shame. The corruption of the Nigerian government, especially under the APC, has now become global knowledge. Everybody knows that they are so irresponsible, and that is why they are being treated with disdain. But this is the APC. I don't expect anything less. And as soon as this update came out, they contacted Bayo Onanuga, contacted the EFCC spokespersons. All of them were silent, because I believe they have been warming up for the next phase of Abacha loot that will be repatriated so that they can reloot it. But now they have been disappointed. Nothing gives me more joy than seeing APC people disappointed. And may their disappointment continue until Nigerians will unite and kick them out of power. But until then, make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Nah, I dey here, so Don't go away. Don't go away.